Yo, what up? It's your boy Jeffery, aka Papa J, man, and I'm in the building with my boy Elo Speaks. Say what up to the people, man.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yo, man. So today, me and my boy, man, we're gonna just chop it up, man. We're gonna talk any and almost everything that happened the last week in the sports world, man. Listen, I ain't gonna lie, I'm ready to jump into it, man. The topics we got, man, is gonna be real interesting. I got a lot of insights on stuff, and my boy Elo, he got a lot of insights. He's been doing this. I ain't gonna lie, sports talk for a minute now. Oh, and by the way, um, go hit his YouTube channel up, man. It's down there below, man. It's down there below. Elo Speaks, man. Go check out his YouTube channel. He got a couple of videos out on different, like I said, sports topics. So go hit him up. Go hit him up. And matter of fact, listen, I'm excited. I just got this YouTube channel going for just talking with Jeffery. So I'm gonna have many more episodes coming out, content galore. Like I told you, man, I'm gonna just have different guests come on, just talk about what their area of expertise is. So like I said, with my boy Elo, we talking about sports. So yeah, man, let's get into it, man. First things first. First topic for my LA fans. Ew. All my LA fans, man. Good luck. Your season is, trash right now. So I apologize for that.
Not really.
Yeah, not really. Really not really. But let's get into it, man. Yo, Elo, man. What's your thoughts on how the Lakers are right now, man? I'm excited that they playing like trash. But what's your thoughts on the Lakers in general, man?
The Lakers season is damn near a disaster right now. I'm gonna be real. First of all, I had come out with a video talking about the Lakers earlier, but I could rehash what I talked about on here as well. So three major components and like issues with the Lakers that's going on right now is, obviously Anthony Davis. He's the focal point of the team. He's he's the engine that makes the team drive. I understand LeBron James is the best player on the team, but LeBron, like AD, is the most important player that has to keep this team together. And this season so far, has been producing to a high level that we expect him to. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's having some type of mental issues or anything, but he's like going through it right now where he's not performing like the big man, like a potential top 5 player that he is. So that's my thoughts on this issue. My third topic I wanted to talk about is Russell Westbrook and the disaster that he's been playing with the Lakers so far. This whole triple-double thing that's not going to work in La La Land. It was cool when he was doing it at OKC. It was cool when he did it with the Washington Wizards, but when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers, they do not care about that at all. They're about championships.
Exactly. They care about the dub.
Yep. If you break records while playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, great. But they're a title town, and they want titles, and they expect titles. So Russell Westbrook, they get it together. And the third issue I wanted to talk about regarding the Lakers is their defense. They've been playing horrible defense this whole season, and that's a shame because the past 2 seasons ago they were like either number 1 or top like in the defensive, and for them to be like this bad defensively, it just shows how dire the situation is. But what's your perspective on it?
So I'm listen, and it's just being as honest as possible. I just look at the Lakers, and the dynamic of the Lakers right now is just it's all over the place. You got where LeBron, for one, he's supposed to be the pillar of the team. He's doing what he can do, but at age 36, I think he is.
He's 36, about to turn 37 like 2 weeks.
So it's like, you look around the rest of the league, 36 can still get you some wins. A LeBron 36, let me say it that way. LeBron 36 can still get you some wins, can still get you in the position of, playoff contention. And hell, if you make it, if they make it there, with the exception of last year when they got, knocked out in the first round, could get you to the chip, championship. And let me not say get you the chip, can get you to, the big dance and then potentially win it. But I just look at everybody that is surrounding him. Like, he ain't at this point. He ain't been given a lot to. Nah, you know what? I lied. I just lied. This man has AD. This man has Russ. He has Melo. I
Dwight
mean,
Howard.
he got Dwight. He got DeAndre Jordan. Like, yo, that is a lineup that, yo, if honestly, if I see it on the schedule, if I'm a team like, I don't know, Memphis Grizzly, and I see the Lakers on my schedule, knowing the people that they got on that roster, I'm not gonna lie, I'm be a little intimidated. Knowing that, yo, listen, they can easily put up a $120, but in actuality, and once again, paper, the roster look good on paper, but when it comes down to it, when you actually like get on the court, yo, it's a different story.
And that's one of the issues I wanted to refer to, and that's the coaching. I feel like poor rotations,
Poor coaching.
Yeah, poor coaching and poor rotations on the coach. I could blame that on the coach because his lineups that he has on the floor is just not gelling well. And, obviously, if the lineups are not gelling well, a lot of blame is going to come on you when the team is losing because obviously LeBron James is not going to get blamed for this. AD, he should be getting blamed for this, but since he's the second best player on the team and he's an untradeable piece, the two people that's going to get the most brunt of the blame is going to be the coach and Russell Westbrook.
Definite. So, and that's not to say that. Listen, that's just what it's been, and for I don't know however long Russ has been in the league, he's always been the blame of anytime they lose.
Yeah.
And honestly, anytime something bad happens on the court, he's also always the one to blame because he is supposed to be the point guard who is running the offense. So if something shaky happens on the court, it's like, hey, well, where was Russ on this play? What was Russ thinking during this this play? Like, and honestly, is Russ all that he is cracked up to be? Is Russ that guy that you really feel like, hey, listen, I need to have him on my team? Yo, the only thing that I would want from Russ is the aggression. Everything else, like, yo, I can get that from 5-6 other people on the team. Russ just brings more aggression on the court to where the game is just a little bit more gritty.
One thing I'll say about Russ is he gives 110% effort. He's never going to cheat you. He's going to try hard. He's going to give it all. You're never going to feel like, damn, Russ was slacking on this. Russ didn't give his all. But my problem with his is just his intangibles. He has low basketball IQ.
Zero.
He has low self-awareness in terms of what's going on around him. He, instead of just playing smarter, he plays harder, which that's good sometimes. But at the same time, you need to understand what's going on, what the defense is giving you, so that way you could properly attack them.
Exactly.
So as regards to that, he needs to try to do that in terms of increasing his basketball IQ, understanding the game more better. But I feel like since he's 33 years old, he's kind of long in the tooth. So I don't think I think it's kind of too late for him to change his ways and become a more adaptable point guard to today's NBA.
There is at this point not going to be any sort of changing in how he plays the game because he feels, listen, the way I play the game is perfect. I can go out there, get buckets. I can go out there and, get boards. I can go out there, get dimes. But honestly, the problem to all of that is, does that translate to dubs? That's the biggest thing. And once again, man, at La La Land, man, yo, you gotta get wins. You have a roster like, put that roster in Miami. Put that roster in hell. Put it in OKC. Put it in New York. Not Brooklyn, no, New York, and see how far you can go with the fans criticizing you day in, day out.
New York media is ravaged.
Listen, those medias are, I mean, maybe not OKC. That media ain't that.
Yeah, it's not friendly. Small market teams, you don't gotta too much worry about it. You still gonna get criticized, but when you in big markets like LA, New York, Atlanta, Houston,
listen, you gotta. yo, you got to bring it. You have to. It is definitely championship or bust.
Yeah,
It's championship or bust. And the problem with the roster and how it's comprised, once again, yes, you have these people that you got. What was that called? You got the dream team. It's not really
it's
a
not
dream
really a
team.
dream team.
Not really a dream team. But it's a team that honestly, once again, day in, day out, that should not only compete but catch dubs. Like
It should dominate in the regular season.
dominate. Why? Because like yo, you talk about other teams and going through injuries, going through lineup changes,
COVID protocol.
pro COVID now. But when you got a team like that ain't able to, man, what I don't even know what their record is, but I'm just I like, man, yo, you can't put a win up against a subpar team.
They're barely above 500.
Like that's sad. And once again, it's not like you talking about a Memphis Grizzlies roster. You're talking about a LA roster that has LeBron, that has AD. Well, unfortunately, AD's out for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So everybody
segue.
else has to pick up the slack. But you got Melo. And yes, people say Melo, ain't the same. Nah, Melo has been almost damn near lights out this year. Came in hot, and he is, has been hot
Great
the
spot for
last
them.
couple of weeks. Then you got Russ. You got all these people, these pieces.
Despite his problems. Despite
his problems, correct. But you got all these people on the roster that you talking about an off season where everybody's like, man, yo, LA is sweeping the season, and they're running through the playoffs, and
I would say
finals
run to the playoffs. I would say they should dominate in the regular season, and then once they start facing tougher competition in the West, then we get to see, their true grit and how good they really are.
True.
But since they're struggling against subpar teams, that's kind of, it's like pause for cause.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, at the beginning of the season, before the season even started, when they were signing all these big names left and right, everybody was like, man, yo, they are definitely winning this. They are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. And now everybody's like, yo, can they even make it past, through the season?
Or are they gonna have to play in the play-in tournament?
I'm not gonna lie. The way they're playing right now, they have to win out the rest of the year to avoid play-in tournament, because you got teams like like Phoenix. You got obviously Golden State, the number one in the West. You got obviously they I guess their city sisters, or I don't know how you want to call it, but you got the Clippers.
The Clippers without Kawhi.
Without Kawhi. It's crazy. Like all these teams right now in the West that are not even really as stacked as the Lakers, but they are like Phoenix. Yo, Phoenix is crazy right now. Yeah. But you got all these teams that has put LA on notice, like, yo, listen, we're here.
It's not gonna be a gimme.
It's not. Like, yo, listen, you're gonna have to like drag yourself to these playoffs, and once you make it to the playoffs, understand it's gonna be a dog fight.
Yep,
a dog fight.
It's gonna be murderous road to get to the NBA finals.
Bro, I am not going to lie. I am looking forward to the playoffs and seeing how they falter. Man, listen, it's I'm just being honest. It's gonna happen. They're not going to be able. I don't see any way of them being able to make it to the playoffs and then dominate the playoffs, because when you're talking about the year of in and out of whoever, LeBron first through injury, then COVID. Now you got AD with injury, and then once again you still have to have in the back of your mind that at some point somebody is possibly going to go down with whether it's COVID or with another injury. So are we going to be able to gel by the time playoffs roll around? I don't know. It's a long season.
Speaking of injuries, this is a good segue to one of our subtopics we want to talk about is Anthony Davis injury. So apparently he has an MCL injury. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks with that MCL sprain.
Crazy.
So now, what do the Lakers do now in terms of how they want to execute their rotations and chemistry and how that's going to work.
That's a good question.
Yeah, and then after that, the worst part about it is once Anthony Davis heals up from that MCL, they have to implement him back into the roster, and now they got to make sure the chemistry good again with him in the rotation. So on top of that, I also heard some like issues where like Russell Westbrook might be traded, but those are rumors and stuff like that. We don't fully know what's going on, but I'm pretty sure LeBron James sees the roster better than both of us because he's in the locker room. Yeah. So I don't know what he wants to do now because if Anthony Davis is hurt and you're thinking about trying to trade Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, Genie Bus, that front office is not looking to make that trade anymore.
Rob Pelinka
they are not looking to make that trade anymore. Why? Because you're talking about losing AD. Now, if you're talking about losing AD, then to say, let me trade Russ for obviously somebody who will be able to step in. I mean, listen, it's still early in the season. We're still early, not even at the halfway point. So let me get AD back after that 4 or 6 weeks and see where we go. Now, trade deadline won't be here by then. Yeah, till like I think maybe mid-February, somewhat after the a little bit after the All-Star break. But you're talking about not really having to be in panic mode because AD is down. But it's still one of those things to think about. All right, whether AD is here or not here, who steps up in his absence? If AD is here and let's say, all right, cool, he needs to take some, he need a rest through the game. I mean, bench him for a little bit, not necessarily bench, but like have him sit out for a little bit.
It still feel like he was playing. It still feel like he was playing hurt to some degree.
Of course,
they say he has some ankle issues, but it's like if he had some ankle issues, why he didn't sit out in the beginning? But I feel like the reason he didn't want to sit out because the Lakers are already struggling to be sub 500. Correct. So
he had no choice but to play. It was one of those things. I was forced to play because our team is struggling, and if I am one of the cornerstones of this team, then I got to be in there. I have to be playing day in and day out, and my body, anybody's body, is not really geared up for that, especially with how the league, NBA is, like I said, you got some nights where it's back-to-back games, or if it's not even back-to-back, you're talking about, all right, I'm playing on Monday in LA, but then Monday night, I got to fly all the way to New York for a game Wednesday. I got that 1 day rest, but it's the actual rest. You're talking about two different time zones. Different time zones.
Basically traveling.
Exactly. That's that in itself, can take a toll on you.
Those
so
East Coast, West Coast travels.
That's ugly. So, like I said, for somebody to have to, body wise, deal with that, like I said, still be playing, 40 minutes a game, it's gonna be tough. But like I said, you're talking about one guy, AD, who is supposed to be the cornerstone for that team, not going to be there for 4 to 6 weeks. It's gonna be tough for them, and not knowing who is going to step in for them, it's gonna be tough.
But come on, though, we expect that from like Anthony Davis. Like we always assume like he's gonna get hurt sometime into the season. I didn't think it was gonna be this early,
yeah.
But we all expect that he was gonna get hurt this season. But we don't wish that on him, but it's just like a foregone conclusion based off his previous injury history. It just shows he's possibly gonna get hurt sometime into the season. Now, if you could rest him to some degree where you could potentially avoid the injury, then that's what's best. But so far, what his injury history says, he's gonna get hurt sometime into the season.
Yeah.
But what they could do now is try to rest him as much as they can, and then try to be above 500, just be in the playoff picture, so that way they could make a little run while just staying in at least the 5th or 4th seed. I guess that shouldn't be a lot for the Lakers with two all-stars on their team, but this is where the Lakers are right now, so that's just crazy going on right now. But when I saw the highlight play of the Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, on the play that he got hurt because I think he was trying to set a screen for LeBron James.
Yeah.
And LeBron James threw the push the man, and then he kind of caved into his knee, and that's how he tore his MCL. So it's just an unfortunate situation.
That's definitely an unfortunate situation. And I mean, it's the way all sports go. You're looking to obviously make plays, play hard for your team, but then something like a freak accident like that happens, and now not only are you down a man, you're down a key man, and that's just like how do you once again how do you start moving forward without somebody as important as AD? Hell, when LeBron went down, I know they were scrambling like, dang, how long we not gonna have LeBron?
Exactly.
Dang, who do we put in to take on that load for LeBron? Because it's not like we just used him for scoring. We had him actually running the offense.
He was basically the point guard.
Definitely was the point guard. I mean, I
Definitely
understand. Yeah, Russ is labeled as the point guard, but honestly, truthfully speaking, we all know who the point guard is for that team. So
especially in the fourth quarter when it's like important decisions got to be made. LeBron James is the point guard. He makes the right decision.
exactly.
He makes the smart decision. He doesn't turn over the ball. He doesn't make stupid mistakes, and he's gonna make the right decision to carry his team to a W.
Exactly. So I'm looking at it right now. They actually are above 500. They're 16-14. Surprisingly,
Yeah.
they are number 6 in the West. So right now, as it stands, they are in good standings. Now, here's the question once again: with AD being out, how far do they fall? If they fall, how far up can they go without him being, in the lineup? That's one of those things. And I mean, just looking at everybody that's under them, you got Denver at 7, 15-14. That's an easy, win loss here and there between the two to switch up, and then you got Dallas at 8. I don't think anybody under 8 right now. You know what? Nah, Minnesota surprisingly good. Minnesota is surprisingly good, although they are under 500, but they are surprisingly good. And I can tell you right now, if you give that young man Anthony Edwards
Yes.
and that roster an
Sometimes
opportunity,
to gel.
yo, listen, that boy Anthony Edwards is a beast.
With Cat, D'Lo.
Yo, I think they are going to make a push. Hopefully they can make a push, and if they can, get in that playoffs, it'll be very interesting to some interesting things to see. But I mean, like I said, without AD, how far do they fall? How high can they go up without him on the roster for the 4 to 6 weeks? Because once again, it goes back to who steps in for him.
To be honest, LeBron James will have to step up even more. He's got to play 40 plus minutes.
That's a given.
Yeah,
that right there is a given. LeBron is a given, but besides, I mean, if I'm a LA Clippers, if I'm a Memphis Grizzlies, like if I know I'm playing against the Lakers, I'm shutting LeBron down. I'm sending double teams at LeBron all day, every day. Somebody else has to beat me.
I'm letting Westbrook shoot.
I am letting Westbrook. Somebody else has to beat me. Who is that somebody else? Like, if you do not have somebody else on that, once again, they got Melo, so maybe you start putting Melo in at the 3, LeBron at the 4. Listen, I mean, it's something that can work, but once again, how far can they actually go with, that?
To be honest, I don't see their ceiling being too high. I think they're going to stay around 6 or 7 seed. It's just if they start to fall below 7, 8, then they're obviously going to be in the playing tournament, which is not good because now there's going to be extra games that you could play.
Yeah.
And then there's a potential chance that you could lose again, knocked off into playoffs.
And that'd be bad.
Yeah,
that'd be bad. That'd be real
disaster.
bad.
So the trade for Russell Westbrook, while it's on the table and it's enticing, I don't feel like if they were to trade Russell Westbrook, they're not going to get a return on the investment for him.
Who do they even go after?
That's what I'm saying.
For now, I mean, obviously, the one thing is you want to get a starter. Get a starter, somebody who can fill in, and they don't have to be great at point guard. Hell, once again, you got LeBron running point 85, let's say 85% of the time. And, you just need other people who, hey, listen, give me some space. If I'm LeBron, give me some space.
Give us some shooters.
Right? Exactly. Give me some space, stand outside, And then once I drive, I want to pop it out to you. I'm gonna kick it out to you, and I just need you to knock it down.
But here's the trick, though. Westbrook's contract, he's making $41 million. So who's gonna eat that?
Nobody's going to eat that. Not in this day and age. Why? Because I don't care. You know what? Some teams probably would eat that up. The problem is not for no Westbrook.
No.
Give me somebody who's not only going to get me my wins, but is going to get me in the playoffs and win me some playoffs games and get me to the finals.
That's not happening.
And that's the problem with Westbrook. He's not the one who can take you to that point.
That's not.
And then it's just, I'm not gonna lie. The Lakers right now is in a state of flux, and
it's a disaster.
Unfortunately,
it's a dumpster fire.
Exactly. Hey, listen. Hopefully they can. I'm not gonna be excited to see them in the playoffs. I'm just being honest. I'm not a Lakers fan. I will never be a Lakers fan.
Me either.
I'm
just giving
it's just incredible. You know why? Because it's LeBron and he's the face of the NBA. So it's like, it's always gonna be hot for topic. So we'll see, man. We'll see on what happens in that world. But good luck.
So the next topic we probably want to talk about is LeBron James' legacy and how this could possibly impact him moving forward.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think LeBron need to just hang it up. Forget all that. He got 3, 4 more.
He retired.
He need to hang it up, bro. It's just like Brady, man. Listen, it's great that you are able to still play the game. It's great. Nobody wants to deny the fact that this 36-year-old man is still able to play as if he's 25. Nobody wants to deny that. But at the end of the day, you're talking about long-term wise, what does that do to your legacy? You're staying on a team. Last year, y'all, made it to the playoffs by the skin of your teeth. Honestly, they did not have the play-in game. You were not going to make it to the playoffs.
Yep.
So because they had play-in game, you made it to the playoffs and made it to the first round and had an early exit. This year, the way your team is looking, honestly, yes, you are above 500 right now, but how long does that last?
Exactly. And if y'all go down below 7 or 8 seed, I got to play the first seed Warriors or second seed Phoenix. You're getting losing in 5 games.
Listen, if that, I ain't gonna lie, going to Phoenix.
I don't want to say a sweep off rip.
I ain't gonna lie.
I can see it with the Warriors, but with a healthy AD, a healthy LeBron, and a Russell Westbrook, they should at least, I could possibly, but with the chemistry issues, I could see them losing in 5 games to the Phoenix.
Definite. Phoenix plays tough inside and out. They are gritty. And I'm not talking about just the starting 5. You're talking about the bench. Like, Cameron Payne is a disrespectful young man. Disrespectful. And he does not care. I was watching a highlight, and this was in the playoffs last year. No, I don't think it was playoffs. I think it was just regular season.
Yeah, it was one of the regular season game when the Lakers.
Yeah, and then what he said to LeBron had to try to check this, and Cameron was like, I really don't care what you're talking about. I don't care who you are. Listen, when the clock is going, I'm on the court, I'm playing this game, I don't got no respect for you. Once we are done, then we can talk. Then I can have it. That man had no respect.
Yeah, I was saying.
And I'm like,
LeBron was telling him, you need to be humble.
Exactly, humble yourself. I'm like, golly, bro. But hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. If I am given a paycheck the same way you are given a paycheck to play this game, I'm gonna play the game. Now, on the other end of that is, if we ain't on the same team, we don't need to be friends. No. We not being friends at the time in which we are playing against each other. Now, the game is over, then okay, we can talk. We can
talk before the game.
Exactly, we can talk before and after. During, listen, ain't no parlaying, man. We ain't friends. Why do I need to humble myself? I'm gonna play. If my team is winning and we are dogging y'all, I'm gonna keep Dog, I'm not going, because if the shoe, I mean, if it was the other way around, you would be doing the same exact thing.
LeBron James is gonna be showboating, hot dogging, and doing everything.
Exactly. So why am I going? Listen. So for me, what I'm saying, LeBron, like, yo, at this point, yo, you need to hang it up. If they don't make it to the playoffs, he needs to start thinking on that. Let me start on my retirement, right? Because at this point, he ain't on
he's not gonna retire.
He ain't on that retirement run. But it's something he needs to think. All right, you know what? Let me give it one more year, right? Let me finish out this year, see what this year has for me, and then next year, let me start this retirement. Why? I only say this because Bronny is, I believe he's a senior this year, going to college. Potentially. I don't see college. I honestly see that he will probably go to G League. Just like Wade, or go overseas,
like Leandro Ball,
and then decide, all right, let me go over that way once I'm done. But I see him honestly going G League. Why? Because listen, I'm getting paid better if I do G League versus going European League.
And then on top of that, he could pick what team he want to go to.
Exactly. So I think with that, LeBron needs to take that time to, hey, all right, let me take a step back. Now let me start working with my son, who is at that point of,
because that's what he wants
becoming a professional, so I can get him ready for the NBA.
No, but he wants to play in the league with his son.
Oh man, take a year off and then come back when you're done.
That's one of his goals. He wants to play. He wants to play in the league with his son, whether it's with him or against him.
He's probably going to end up playing against him. I don't see where, if he's on the Lakers. If LeBron is still on the Lakers, where he says, okay, you know what? The Lakers say, yeah, let's go get Bronny. Why? I don't think they will have draft capital to be able to get him.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think
If he go to the G League system, he could be under the Lakers G League team and then transition him to the roster.
But isn't it where they still have to draft you into the NBA? It's not one of those 10-day contract type deals you play, or the 2-way contract.
You have to the players have to enter the draft to be eligible to get drafted. But if he doesn't enter the draft and then he just go to the G League route, he could just sign with any team he wants.
Because Cade Cunningham and Jalen, he just got drafted by
the Pistons.
Nah, Cade Cunningham got to the Pistons. Talking about the one that went to Houston Rockets.
Yeah, but he still entered the draft. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
as long as
the G League affiliate was not with the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
He got drafted by some other team. I think it's the other way around now. So when you make it so you go G League, right? So I go from high school into the G League, right? And I'm playing for this G League team. But then once I'm done with this G League team for that year, then I go into, because I foregone going to college. So now I go this year in the G League. Once I'm ready for NBA, I go into the draft, right?
Yeah, but you don't have to go to the draft. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can stay in G League if you want.
Yeah.
But if I'm ready to go into the draft, I'm going to go, what happened. If I know I'm good enough to make it into the league, but I can't because I got to do a year of college or a year out after high school doing something, I'm going to go to the G League like what all of them doing. And guess what? Now I'm going to be getting paid, because if I go to college, I'm not getting paid. Well, now with the NIL, you can get paid. That's a whole other topic. But what I'm saying is, I go into the G League, right? Once I'm done with the G League that year, I produced, I did whatever I needed to do. I was, balling. My draft stock is all the way up. So now I'm going into the draft. I'm going to get drafted, let's say, by, Miami Heat, right? Shout out Miami Heat, best team out there, right? So I get drafted by the Heat. Now, if I now am not producing, or let's say I get injured, that's what happened with Melo. Was it Melo? I think he got injured, and then he had to go down to it was
James Wiseman.
Well, yeah, Wiseman got injured, and he had to go down to G League. But it was more of, hey, practice, get yourself better. We want you game ready, so you can go down to our G League affiliate, play for them, and then once you're done, come back up. We call you back up.
No, I perfectly understand, but I'm just saying, for Bronny Jr.'s case, he has two options where he wants to do this. If he wants to play, if he wants to go through the whole college system, get drafted, or go to the G League system and play for whatever team draft him, he could do that. But if he specifically wants to play with his dad, the next route is to go to the G League for like a year or two, and then he could, like, after that, he could choose to go whatever team his dad is on, and they could play with each other. Because LeBron James wants to do that. He wants to be the first father and son, like, in the NBA ever.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, listen, if that's what you want to do, by all means, do that. Listen, nobody can tell you that you can't do that. Listen, that's your prerogative. Do what you want to do. I'm just saying, like, you got to start thinking about that. Like, your body at 36, you've done a lot.
He spent $2 million on his body.
You've been knocked around too many times. So you have to start thinking, is it time for me to, hang it up?
Can I still contend for a title?
Exactly.
Because, I mean, as much as we want to mention with, like, Tom Brady, I mean, we feel like he's too old, but he just come off from winning a Super Bowl, so.
And now you look at how they are playing. Are they playing to their potential? Yes and no. That offense, on occasions, they're playing, lights out. Like, Brady has them running like clockwork. But then, that defense, that same game, can do terrible. So it's like you look at the whole scope. It's like, man, dang, are they really like who they were last year? But yeah, Brady, you got to understand, on one side, I'm doing all that I can to get us his W.
Yeah.
But on the other end, they're playing like trash. And now I'm getting beat up night in, night out, week in, week out. And
I'm at an age where one hit could just end me.
Exactly.
So, but it's kind of hard to compare basketball and football because they're such two different sports. When it comes to NFL, it's any given Sunday. Any team could just come in and just wreck you. Yeah,
bro.
But
just look at this week. You had Arizona Cardinals against a 10-2 Arizona or 10-3 Arizona Cardinals against a 1-11-1 Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
they slaughtered them boys.
Yeah,
by more than 10.
Yeah,
by more than 2 scores. Like, and it was one of those towards the end. Arizona was even able to put up an extra, 6 points. That was because that was garbage time.
Yeah.
But like you said,
any given Sunday,
and I mean NBA wise, any given day because they play, Sunday to Saturday.
But when it comes to like playoffs and stuff like that, that's why I say any given Sunday. But on the NBA, it's best to 7 series, so you have to impose your will on the team 4 out of like the 7 times. So
yeah.
There's a little bit more room for error. So LeBron James still have an opportunity to add more to his legacy, but as looking right now, it's not looking too good.
It's at all. And listen, like I said, this is one of those things. I'm not gonna lie, even me. Hold on. Yeah, even me. I gotta, at some point when I know I need to hang it up, I need to hang it up. Because if I don't, then, how long, once again, can my body handle whatever it is that I'm doing every day? Even if it's not my body, how long can my mental deal with whatever I'm dealing with every day?
I always tell, like, when I'm having these type of conversation regarding sports and like particular players that's of old age, there's either 2 options of your retirement. You either choose to retire or the league retires you. So you either keep playing this game where you're like, okay, I've played enough of this particular sport, basketball, football, whatever, and okay, I'm gonna retire this year. I'm gonna retire next year, and it's gonna be my last season. Or the league is gonna retire you, where you're gonna be so bad at what you're doing, like either quarterbacking, wide receiver, or whatever, and the league is just gonna retire you. Whether you're gonna get hurt to beyond repair, or you're gonna get benched or potentially cut where no team wants you.
Yeah.
So those are your options right there.
Yeah, and yeah, and I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I look at some of those people and I say to myself, look that beyond. I say to myself, like, dang, how can you look at one of those things and be ready for that forced retirement?
Yeah.
Because if I feel like I'm playing my butt off, but you telling me, bro, it's the game is changing, and I see you still playing the same way you was playing.
Especially if the
Uh,
league passed you by.
bro, if the league passed you by, just know that you get you at that point of having to think, man. All right, is it time for me to go? Because I don't want to be passed by, and then I don't want to then be slowly forced out.
Yeah.
Because it goes from, once again, all right, you this starter, but now because we're moving in a different direction that you're not there anymore. Well, listen, you move from being a starter to being a role player. We'll still give you a role, but you're a role player. And then from there, it's like, okay, well, you're not producing how we want you to produce as that role player with how the league is moving. So now it's like, all right, well, we cut you.
Yeah.
I just look at somebody like Big Ben. Big Ben was a threat day in, day out in his youngin' days. Now you look at Big Ben,
Shut off himself.
and it's like, yo, what do you do with somebody like that? Well, we don't want to get rid of him now because we see that, hey, listen, he's our only option.
Not even that. They don't want to get rid of him because there's not an appropriate backup.
Exactly. He's our only option at quarterback.
So.
Right. But you know what? To kind of save him, let's give the ball to, Najee, our running back. Let's feed him as much as we can to where, Big Ben ain't getting beat up as much. But it's still one of those things. All right, yes, we still can use you because we need you to get the ball to the receivers. But we need Najee as our number one.
Yeah.
And then from there,
he has to be the focal point of the offense.
Exactly. Now, we bring you on throughout the season. And now once we get to this point of whether we make it to the playoffs or not, if we make it to the playoffs, we still going to need you. We don't make it to the playoffs, hey, sorry, there is no other option, but you got to go. We're going to draft somebody younger or trade for somebody who is,
you either accept the backup role and mentor the new draftee, or you get cut.
You got to go. You got to go, and that sucks. And once again, that's kind of what, like I said, for LeBron, it may not be to that extent, but I think once again he still has to start thinking legacy wise. What do I do for myself? Where do I see myself? Because I don't want to be passed by, and then I don't want to have to be cut or listen. LeBron getting cut,
not going to get cut. That's not going to happen.
Not going to ever happen. But do I see myself ever getting another championship with this team?
Yeah, or winning another MVP or anything.
Exactly, right? So. Yeah. Speaking of MVP, I know LeBron ain't in the topic.
Great segue.
He's not in the topic of MVP race at this point, I don't think. Last time I checked, he wasn't in the discussion.
No, but he's not even in the top 5.
MVP race, like how... Let's talk about that. Who do you feel is? I mean, we got our or NBA released who they feel. I mean, what their MVP ladder looks like. You got, I want to say is, you got KD, you got Steph for sure,
and Joker,
and you got the Joker. I ain't gonna lie, disrespectful guy. He's definitely disrespectful, but that's another topic.
That's another topic as well.
But out of those three, who's your my MVP? I mean, let's start that way. Well, now, who's your MVP?
Right. Currently,
out of those three,
right now, I have Kevin Durant as my MVP of the league. Now, I've had debates with other friends of mine where they said that Steph Curry was the MVP, and at the beginning of the season, Steph Curry was like number 1 in the MVP ladder, but Steph Curry was focusing on beating that 3-point record of passing Ray Allen. Congratulations to him for doing that again. and he kind of struggled a couple of games. And Kevin Durant been going bonkers lately, where he's been dropping ridiculous number efficiently. And right there, he kind of surpassed Steph Curry, number one in the MVP race, and then number three is obviously Nikola Jokic, where his advanced stats metrics is
bonkers.
Yeah, is better than KD and Steph Curry,
bonkers.
But it just doesn't show that in the assists, rebounds, and points. But he's been playing great himself too. But right now, if the season were to end today, right now, Kevin Durant's the MVP. But I'll let you know.
Listen, I mean, I gotta side with you. I have to side with you. Why? Because I look at the last couple of games. The last couple of games for, the Nets. KD, and it was announced, I mean, I heard this, while listening to ESPN radio. KD, one of, I want to say 2 players to have back-to-back 50-point triple doubles.
Ridiculous.
Like, who? And those did not come in like desperation to get a win. No, this was like, yo, listen, these were my consistent 50-point triple doubles that were automatic wins, that were guaranteed wins.
The worst part about it, he scores so naturally.
Exactly. Like his shot is so pure. His movement is just so pure. Like, I just gotta say, man, this guy is and has always been just so like legit. Like he and like I said, starting out, it was definitely, Curry. Like, yo, I'm just seeing shots this guy's putting up, things that he's doing, and it's just like, yo, you know what? That's just Curry. Curry being Curry.
Curry's being double teamed when he takes the ball down half court.
And I mean, he's beating them. But I'm just looking at what his team is doing. Curry isn't doing all of that alone. You got Gary Payton Jr. doing crazy stuff. Poole, like, yo, but that's a team effort. Now you look at, the Nets. They've been down James Harden.
Yeah, James Harden been kind of,
and now he's with the COVID. Like, hell, even KD was down, with COVID, and he came back. And
I think he's down right now with the COVID protocol right now.
Nah, he might be down, but I know he was down.
He did play the other night.
But what I'm saying is, like, yo, this man he's doing what he's doing consistently and without a full on roster. This man is like really just like sledding through and like making. I mean, they're number 1 in the East.
Yeah,
they sit at number 1 in the East.
Kyrie Irving going AWOL.
Exactly, yet again. But it's like, so how do you not have this guy first off in MVP, consideration? That if he's not on your list for MVP for this year, you're crazy.
I think you're being biased.
I think year in, year out, KD should be on your MVP list.
Yes.
Right. But once again, with him on the list, like, how do you not even say, yo, KD should not win MVP? Like, he is. You take him out of the mix, and now we're about to see if he's out right now. We can take him out of the list or take him out of the game, and now we'll see what that New Jersey Nets team can actually do, and which is probably not going to be much, because now you're not only talking about down, 8 KD, you're also down James Harden, and I mean, they getting him back, but he's part-time, so he's technically still down in Kyrie Irving. So now it's like, yo, who else is there on that New Jersey Nets team that will a Brooklyn Nets? Sorry, it hasn't been New Jersey in years. Golly. But who is there on that Brooklyn Nets team to carry them? KD gonna come back, and KD's gonna go on a tear, and it's gonna be scary.
For at least the past like 4 games, he's been averaging over 30 points.
Right, and that's crazy. That's crazy to know that this man. I mean, listen, he's MVP.
Yeah,
I mean, front runner
currently right
now, he's MVP, and yo, this race is going to be a 3-man race the entire year. Yeah. I already see it. Those 3 are going to be consistently in that race and going to be, consistently talked about.
I just slightly edge Kevin Durant more because he's playing with a little bit less right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And on top of that, his numbers are just been better.
Yeah, that is true. And then once again, that's not because technically he's forced to do that because it's only him.
Of course.
But you got to look at it like, it's he's just doing it so easily.
He wakes up out of bed doing that,
bro. Like, man sleeps, dreaming about that.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, listen, he gonna be able to do it, and it's gonna get done. But like I said, it's gonna be a fun ride. But man, back on, so earlier we was talking about this guy, and listen, I've had a part-time job before, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get paid as much. And listen, nobody missed me because I was only a part-time player. I mean, part-time, employee. So I can only imagine with this guy, and I've never heard of this. And I guess this is the first time.
This is the first time ever this happened.
See something like this.
But to be honest, with COVID going around with protocols and stuff like that, there's a lot of first-time things happening right now.
True.
So.
That is true. But I mean, as we talk about, like, Kyrie Irving coming back to be a part-time player, like, what? Like, what does that even look like, part-time player?
And if they were to go to the playoffs and make it to the finals, how would that work?
How does that work?
And whatever,
right? Because
what if they don't have home field advantage and they happen to be a Game 7 series and like there's no, like, they have to play a Game 7 on the road,
right? Like, that's, the crazy thing about that is because not even Game 7 on the road. Think about this, right? What if they still sit at number 1 seed, right? They have home court advantage. He can't play at home unless he's vaccinated.
Exactly.
So, you know what? I know YouTube, they kind of block you for saying certain things. So let me make sure. Yeah. But if you don't have that, then you cannot play. If you don't have a jab, then you cannot play in that city.
Yeah.
So just imagine I believe, well, there's no East team in LA, obviously. But that wouldn't happen until finals comes.
Yeah.
But let's New York and I don't know. Both New York teams are playing against each other. Let's say that. Yo, how do you can't play in any of those games?
Basically.
You can't play in any of those that series. You cannot play because you have to have the jab in that city.
And let's just say that was the case where both LA teams have to play each other in the Eastern Conference Championship, and the Nets end up losing. That New York media is gonna go off. Oh well, we had this guy's part time. Oh well, this guy, like, yo, they are going to it's field day. They're gonna have a field day with that. But once again, it's like, how do you now? I am not going to knock Kyrie for his stance on it. I'm not telling him to take the job. I'm not telling him to not take the job. His life, his personal decision.
True.
I have my personal opinions on that, but we're talking about sports right now. That's like a whole other topic. But what he wants to do is he could do whatever he wants. That's for him and his family.
His family.
So I don't begrudge him that he didn't take the job. I don't care if you're a New York Nets fan that wants him to take the job. It's on him and what he wants to do.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing, man. What do you do as this professional athlete who has this particular platform and people are watching you, and heck, they over here talking about you, like we talking about you on my, Just Talking with Jeffery podcast. By the way, like, subscribe, follow, do what you gotta do, share, and don't forget, my boy Elo Speaks, man. Go follow his channel. Go subscribe to his channel, man. Do what you gotta do, man. But man, back to it. Like, how do you, what do you do in that situation where, listen, I'm only able to be part-time player because of my particular stance on something, right? But knowing that, listen, I have this following, like, how do I appease both sides?
It's tough. It's a tough decision because By the end of the day, that's a decision you have to make for yourself as a man. There was a particular pair, I think it was Andrew Wiggins, where he didn't want to take the jab at all. But the Golden State Warriors was telling him, like, yo, if you don't take the jab, you're not going to play at all.
Yeah.
Road games or away games. So he had to make a choice.
He made that choice.
And he made that choice, whether he wanted to or not. Now, I'm not begrudging that. I'm not saying he's a coward or anything because he took the jab, but he made the best decision for him. And Kyrie's doing the same thing. Yeah. Where he chose not to make that decision to take the jab. So regardless of what he's decided to do, I'm all for it because by the end of the day, it's his choice. Yeah. And I'm not going to force anybody to do anything they don't want to do.
And you know what's so tough about it, man? Because, I mean, once again, you know, COVID coming around had changed up a lot of things for a lot of people. And with the jab coming out, you know, it also changed. I mean, it put certain things in people's mind as to, you know, protecting yourself and your family. But, you know, it also put in your mind, all right, well, what sort of a stance do I want to have in life, right? Like, do I want to stand firm with this particular belief or do I want to fold to the pressure? And this guy said, like, yo, from day one, like, yo, I'm not going to, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm not going to get it. Like, now you got people who faking the phone. He got bashed. He got bashed by the media. Got bashed.
Dogs like Stephen A. Smith came for his neck and still doing it to this day.
To this day, but yet, you know, they won't do it for somebody like Aaron, you know, whatever. But it is what it is. But, you know, we understand the, you know, the politics behind all that. Yeah. But it's still one of those things like, yo, why am I shunned for, you know, being so passionate about something? Being so adamant about something? Why am I being shunned about that if I feel, hey, listen, that will not benefit me, right? Because you look at it, I go get this jab, and then maybe tomorrow, heck, you got all these people in the league still catching it. Yeah. Yes, now you're saying that the symptoms may not be as, you know, severe, and that's cool, but I probably, you know, I can probably count on my hand a couple of times people who's, you know, had it without the jab, and the symptoms were not even that severe.
To be honest, there's some people that don't really care about Kyrie's stance. They just want him to take the jab so that he could contend for a title.
Correct. And you know, that sucks because once again, but you know, hey, listen, that's unfortunate. Why? Because you're sitting in that limelight now. Yeah. So it's no longer about you, which is it's crazy. But it's no longer about you. I could care less about your personals. I own you because I give you this humongous check. So I need for you to get on this court
and shut up and dribble.
Right? Like, yo, that right there, I'm not gonna ever like.
I'm never gonna forget that.
I'm never gonna forget that. But that's ultimately what it is. Shut up and dribble. Yeah. And yo, listen.
I don't care about your stance. I don't care about your political views. I don't care about
your religious views. Yeah, none of that.
I don't care that you think the earth is flat. I don't care about none of that.
None of that.
I want you to cross up your defender and take it to the hoop.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, yo, when I tell you, like, I cannot fully understand that because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, yo, if I'm a grown man, why are you telling me what I can and cannot do, what I should and shouldn't do? Like, yo, I'm a grown man, right? Yeah. Like, were you not also this grown person, this adult, where, you know, it was okay for you to make certain decisions and not make certain decisions? Like, were you not given that choice of, you know, doing whatever it is that you wanted to do? I'm pretty sure you were. So why am I not given that same opportunity? Why is it that, you know, yes, I understand at the end of the day, I am paid to do a job.
I'm paid a lot.
I'm paid a lot of money to do a job. But at the end of the day, is basketball really a job? Like, yeah.
I feel like when you're having fun doing something, it's not a job. It's not work for you.
It's not work, right? Now, doctor, teacher, lawyer, teacher, judge, teacher. Those are more important. Yeah. Mind you, I said teacher about 3 times. Those are way more important. But, you know, we ain't giving that same bit of check. And then also at the end of the day, you not telling, like, I can't sit here and I'm not paid. First off, well, Doctors maybe.
I don't want to
Teachers.
count. I don't want to count people's pockets, but it's like in terms of a professional career, like a doctor, lawyer, teacher, or whatever. Once if they were to make a stance saying they're not taking the job, they could possibly lose their job and they have to support their family. When it's with Kyrie, for instance, he could quit basketball right now. He'll still have millions of dollars in the bank, and he has endorsement deals from other sponsors and stuff like that to take care of him, like Nike and other stuff like that.
Right. Because though you have other people within there saying, hey, listen, why are we shunning this guy for taking a stance on something? Right? Why are we shunning this guy for believing in something? And hey, that's his ultimate decision.
To be honest, I don't really care about his stance too much. Like if he decides he don't want to do it, I respect that.
Yeah, I do.
Like that's once he said I don't want to take it, that's in the discussion.
It is, but now once again, it goes back and it goes into the sport realm or the basketball realm, really, because that's what he plays. Well, listen, if you can't play in this city, this state, because you ain't get the jab, then hey, listen, ain't nothing we can do. You can't play. You can't get on the plane to come here because I mean, you can come here, but now you got to stay in this hotel because you ain't get a jab. They're gonna ask for verification, and we know how that go when you giving false, verification, yeah. Mr. AB. But listen, at the end of the day, like or Mr. Aaron, I'm immunized, quote unquote. Okay, but we see how that go, right? Where I don't get it, and now I can't play. Now I'm jeopardizing, my team and our success.
But here's the thing, though. Let's just say he still doesn't take the vaccine, and the NBA makes it a full mandate. Every team player has to get vaccinated.
Hey, he might have to hang it up. Yeah, right. He's gonna have to hang it up. I mean, that's just it is what it is. Because if they're mandating it, just like military, I know some people who were in the military were, it was mandated. Hey, listen, you got to get this or you got to go. And there was a whole lot of people said, okay, well, I'm not going to get that.
Same thing with nurses.
The same thing with nurses. People walked out. Man, some people were, their key card didn't even work for them, to sign to come in the building.
And it's a tough stand to take, especially when you're taking it by yourself.
Exactly. Because you got to understand, like, my family still got to eat. So if I'm taking this stance, like, do I have enough in the bank that's going, hold me over for 6 months, a year, however long?
We're not fortunate like Kyrie. Exactly. And I don't want to pile on, make it seem like Kyrie is this fortunate person where he could just say no to basketball and like live his life. But it's like
it's the reality.
Yeah,
it's the reality.
But it's easy for him to do that and take that stance because he has millions of dollars in the bank. But if he was getting, like, let's just say the average, let's just say NBA player was getting paid a minimum wage job like $42,000, would he still take that stance?
Hey, listen, he's not in that position. Never has been in that position to say, yeah, I will not take that. Now, I do know people who are at that position and do take that stance and just like, hey, listen, it is what it is. I'm going to, walk away from it all. But yeah, I don't think with somebody like him, if they say, hey, listen, well, I think he would.
I think he would. He's a peculiar character.
He is. He's definitely different. I don't see how he would not be able to get back on his feet to do something new to where, hey, listen, me not getting a jab is going to jeopardize anything. And I'm pretty sure, once again, he could probably be one where he's got so much stored up to where, hey, listen, I have my nest egg. I can go off the grid. And if I need anything, will I have enough to where I can come back on the grid?
He signed with Nike. They're always going to continue buying shoes at him.
Yep.
He has sponsored stuff with other deals. He could come with a business. He could make a business.
Yeah, he can make a business, and he'll be fine. So
he has the capital for it. So.
But I just, like I said, at the end of the day, I just look at this whole part-time player thing, and I'm just like, man, that's crazy. I know. See now, I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. But I say to myself, when he comes back, how will it affect the team's chemistry? And then on top of that, how far can the Nets go with him in and out of the lineup? Yeah. Like, can they like make it actually work? Maybe they've been doing things behind the scenes, practice wise on, all right, well, hey, listen, matchup wise, hey, we're playing against, Golden State. So, hey, listen, Kyrie, we may need you because, defensively, you can probably check, Steph.
Yeah, you
And
can
then
go toe to
you can go toe to
with
toe with
the
him,
best of the
right?
point guards in the
But
league.
then when you talk about, a team like San Antonio, all right, hey, listen, all right, Kyrie, you can just take the day off.
Yeah.
Those are playing against San Antonio. All right, cool. Those sort of things, okay, if that works out for them that way, then okay. But outside of that, it's like, how does that actually work?
The only good I see out of this part time is mitigates its risk injury.
True.
That's the only good I see out of this.
And listen, that's a big, good. Why? Because, he has been known to get some injuries. Nothing too severe. They've all been like minor injuries here and there, but enough to where it keeps him out a game or two, a couple of games. But now you're talking about being part-time. Now that injury level goes down, and yeah, I'm not getting injured as much because I'm not having yes, I may have to play hard against a team like Phoenix, against a team like, Miami. However, it's not that hard to where, once again, I playing today, I can't get rest tomorrow because I got to play against another game tomorrow, and then Wednesday I'm off. Nah, well, today I play, tomorrow I don't play because I'm part time, and then come back later on in that week to play. If I got 3 games in a week, I play 2 games, then I'm good.
Yeah.
And that like I said, it'll help him out to reduce his injuries.
One thing I can say is Kyrie got the best part-time job ever.
Hey,
get paid millions of dollars to be a part-time baller.
Listen, that's crazy. I wonder, are they gonna is his contract, or at least his pay for this year, his salary for this year, going to reflect? Because if not,
I heard he's only gonna get paid for road games. That's what I heard from the reports.
Well, then shoot, that's still good. I mean, I just think about what some of these dudes get paid per game, per minute. Like,
some of these players getting paid $500,000.
$500,000.
Or some of them were making a couple of bills a game.
Like a game, bro, I wish.
That's part-time job.
That's the best part-time job ever, man. But that's what, once again, that's not just him in that sense. You also talk about just like people who are catching the cocoa. It's really changed up a lot of things. So I just wonder what more will, how much more will have, this COVID, thing affect, the league.
I think it's gonna be here for the long haul, to be honest.
And that sucks. Why? Because players want to play, fans want to be in the stands to watch the games. We want to go back to some sense of normalcy, and we thought we were, but now with this new variant, it's like, hey, look, well, no, sorry, y'all got a little bit too comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing. Let me not say great thing. No, let me not say great thing. I think it's something that we should continuously be prepared for anyways, because when you're talking about going to certain venues, going to certain events, and you got or going to certain Travis Scott's concerts, and you got millions of people at these events
that potentially does vaccinated, not vaccinated.
And they are not forget the whole COVID thing, right? You just got all these people on top of each other. Just imagine all of the germs, all of the disgustingness that's just floating around. And you just, spitting in people's face, talking in people's face. It's like, that's nasty. COVID coming has opened up a lot of people's eyes to man, this has been going on for years now. And it took for something as deadly as COVID for us to really realize we need to change up how we are.
The whole world had to get shut down,
bro, for months. And for us to realize, maybe we might want to change up how we do certain things, because maybe wearing a mask is not as bad. Maybe, not to say that I'm not gonna lie, I don't faithfully wear a mask. Yes, I do need to breathe, but at the end of the day, it's like in certain areas,
I wear it when I can.
Exactly, right? I'm not gonna lie, at work, work with kids, I have no problems with wearing a mask. Why? Because some of those kids are a little they're a little special, unsanitary, right? And it's not like they unintentionally do certain things. I see certain kids and like they are intentionally doing certain things. So it's like, I don't want to be around you without a mask, right?
Sure.
But then it's also one of those things like, yo, for safety, measures, I want to make sure I am able to not bring something to my, kids, my house. I don't want to bring it at home.
I don't want to affect my family.
Exactly, right? So it's like, man, yo, it's a good but yet bad thing that thing came along. But we just talking about the leagues in general, NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, MMA, like all of these leagues, like
impacted by the sports like COVID.
How do you continue on without having the best protocol in place? Because we, like you said, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. COVID is here, unfortunately, here to stay
for the long haul.
So how do you go along with making sure that, hey, listen, we have the best protocols in place to make sure that, hey, listen, our players are safe, our fans are safe, because we want to continue to have these games just keep going on.
So they could get paid, so the league could get paid.
Exactly,
everybody could enjoy the product.
Exactly. So is that going back into what the NBA did? Do they go into a bubble? Like, that's tough. We already know, NFL can't do a bubble. There's 55 players on the team. There's no way you can do a bubble on.
And on top of that, there's NFL teams that has like an open dome. So it's like, how does that work? Y'all would literally have to empty out the dome and have the players just play, but they're not going to maximize the money that they could potentially make with a full crowd of people.
Yeah, this bubble only honestly works for, I would see it only work for the NBA. I only see it working for the NHL
and MMA too, because they play.
Well, yeah,
they play. Yeah. I know you don't. I know you don't watch MMA like that, but I can't tell you how many countless times I've seen fights get canceled because a fighter caught COVID.
Listen, I mean, you get, and I can obviously tell you. I mean, it's a one-on-one thing. So, man, if I'm fighting you and I catch it, then yeah, listen, who are you going to fight now? Exactly. You can't fight nobody else. So sometimes the fight has to get canceled.
Sometimes they try to find a replacement, but it doesn't end too well.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, you just look at the NBA, NFL. I mean, listen, they're not going to cancel no games. We'll be able to postpone it. Move the schedule around. Why?
A couple of NFL games
got postponed. A couple of games just got postponed till Tuesday, and I mean, hopefully they don't go into cancel. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I hope they cancel some games. I'm in fantasy league right now. It's not looking too well for me, so I hope they cancel just so that my fantasy league can, just yeah. But but the bubble, like, is that a thing? Is taking fans out of the stands going to be a thing? Because once again, I mean, that's probably what's going to have to happen to keep from either canceling, postponing games, or even like what happened when COVID first came around, shutting things completely
there was
down.
Literally NBA games that was playing right now, and then like referees had to stop the game and shut
everything down. And, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when I seen that with that,
it was a
Utah game.
I think it was Phoenix with Utah.
Yeah, and they shut. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what is going on? Is this the end of the world? Because it was just like, the talks of COVID was happening before that. With the whole cruise ship, people not really knowing what was going on with
people
that,
flying out of the country,
right? And nobody not fully knowing what was going on until, all eyes on these NBA games, and now it's like, hey, listen, shut down.
Like that. There was people who flew out to the country. They couldn't even come back to the States.
I heard there was a guy, he was out for almost a year, because not only obviously, them shutting things down, but then also you talking about him not being able to pass, any of the tests because he just kept getting COVID back, back to back. I think he had caught COVID maybe 6 times back to back. I mean, granted, he was asymptomatic, So it's like, okay, well, he didn't really have any severe symptoms, but like he couldn't pass any of the tests because like, yo, he just kept getting COVID. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. 6 times?
But that was like literally at the height of the COVID.
Yeah, exactly. That was at the height of it all. But you still talking about like, I didn't have plans to be in Europe for, a year.
And on top of that, you got to go back to the States. You most likely was on vacation. You have a job there. And now it's
job didn't really affect me because like, yo, listen, everybody stopped working for a bit. Even essential, unless you were frontline workers, you were, there. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was considered essential, so I didn't stop. That
don't stop the landlord from banging on your door asking for your rent.
He sure didn't stop him. But I mean, it's just crazy, and listen, I'm hoping that the leagues, all leagues, I mean, even like I said, the leagues that I don't even watch, I don't, not a fan
sports
of
everywhere.
I just hope that they all can understand. I mean, find out what's the best plan of action, moving forward. If more cases start happening or more variants start coming out that affects us, worse than the last variant, because Delta came out. Delta was pretty bad. Omicron, whatever they call it, is coming out, and now it's worse than Delta, and it's more rampant than Delta. It's spreading quicker than Delta. So it's like, league, what do we do? Are we ready to take on these new things? Like, are we ready? And if we aren't, what are we doing to prepare ourselves to avoid a shutdown? To avoid cancellations. Are we at that point? And once again, it's now or never, because if they don't think about it now, then they are going to be faced with cancellations and shutting down of the I think if the government shuts down, in general, then everything shuts down.
Yeah.
But if we don't get to that point, then once again, for the leagues to avoid being shutting themselves down, they need to just come up with the best plan of action.
But can you see, like, let's just use the NBA for an example, right? Can you see how the NBA bubble in 2020 was just a couple of months and it finished in October?
Yeah.
Can you see the players playing in the same area like Orlando for a whole year in a bubble?
No,
that can't happen.
Maybe NBA, because once again, it's set up perfectly for.
Yeah, but you're gonna stay in Orlando for 12, almost a whole year.
It came with benefits. It came with benefits. My family was able to come. They went to
they were able to come when more teams started to leave.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about with all 32 teams playing in the bubble at that point.
There's nowhere that can handle that for that long.
Exactly. Paul George said he went through mental issues dealing with that.
Listen, I think honestly everybody went through some type of mental issues during that time.
And that was a couple of months.
Yeah, but it's still one of those things, are they preparing themselves to avoid something like that?
In the NFL, that's literally impossible to happen.
It's definitely impossible. There's, like I said, 55 people on one team.
Yeah.
So you just think about, okay, how do we have a bubble in Atlanta?
You can't.
You can't even do that with 4 teams, to be honest. You can't with 4 teams, because what hotel in close proximity of the stadium is there that we can hold one team? Two teams. Let me say that 2 teams, because you got to think about it. The home team, obviously, if you're in Atlanta, the home team, you can stay wherever you are, but you still because you still have to have them in sort of
some type of quarantine environment.
Because if you're home, I don't have eyes on you to see what you're doing every day, so I still have to have some sort of accountability for that team, for the home team. But then once again, you got 3 teams that come from Miami, LA, New York. Like, where do you house them?
Exactly.
So that, like I said,
but the NBA, but still, the NBA in itself, it would be harder. Even though it will be the least difficult of all the other leagues, it's still difficult in itself, because remember, in the bubble, there were some NBA teams that didn't even participate at all.
Yeah, but that's because that was towards the ending of it all, where, hey, listen, we're coming up to playoffs, and we already can see who's going to make it to playoffs. So you know what? We'll have the first 8 you know, and
Basically,
then whoever is potential to
10,
make it to
like 10 to 12.
Yeah, listen, you guys play, you know, sort of that play-in tournament, and then whoever is able to make it in, then hey, listen, your team stays. But I mean, it was one of those things, and hey, listen, shout out to Adam Silver. He like him and his team, they put together one of the best things, you know, they could have put together to make that bubble as good as they could.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, outside of the players being, you know, in complete being in isolation for as long as they were able to actually, like, you know, finish out that season. And although that championship came with an asterisk, but it was still one of those things like, yo, listen, we were able to finish out the season. And listen, like I said, man, shout out to that team. I mean, shout out to, you know, Adam Silver and his team for, you know, getting that done.
Because we got the play-in tournament of it. I feel like the play-in tournament was a good idea.
Yeah, it was. So we got one more topic, but I feel like, you know, we're running out of time. And I definitely, you know, we can definitely hold that for another day. But listen, man, we had a lot, you know, we unpacked a lot, you know, from Lakers to fakers, from fakers to, you know, Kyrie and, you know, his part-time, you know, job and COVID, man. It's been a lot. So I'm excited, you know, to have been able to discuss this. So yeah, man, listen, we get ready for the next one, man. We're gonna get ready for the next one real soon.
Yeah, we have to run this back again.
Listen, man, it's sports in general, man. You know, you can go talk about a lot because there's a lot of sports,
so much,
and there's so many people within every sport. So, you know, there's just so much that you can, you know, bring up and, you know, we can discuss. So, y'all stay tuned for part 2 of it, man. And, you know, listen, we're gonna end out with you know what, listen, I know we talked about sports, but, you know, this is something I like to do. Man, I should have this ready, but it's all right. I got it real quick. Yeah. But listen, I like to leave y'all with a quote, just something motivational and keep you guys going for the rest of your week. And it's a old African proverb that I heard one time, and I was like, man, yo, it sounds dope. And so I'm like, yeah, listen, why not? But it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Think on that. But listen, man, don't forget, man, comment, like, subscribe, not just to Just Talking with Jeffrey, but also to my boy Elo Speaks.
Make sure you follow me on YouTube, Elo Speaks. I have a lot more videos. I talk about basketball, football, MMA, all sorts of things on my channel. As regards to that, we have just like topics like this. I have all that on my channel, so just follow me on Elo Speaks.
Yo, and stay tuned for my next, you know, episode. Got another guest coming up. I'm not gonna tell you who it is. It's gonna be a surprise. It's gonna be real good. Always gonna be good with your boy Papa J. But yo, man, get at me.
Peace.